and welcome to our 7 Days Report Show. I'm your host, Vasilios Nikolaos Vitsiloyanis. Here, we bring you all the news from around the world through all major media outlets. We bring you all the news that matters most. We delve into real news affecting our society, politics, economy, culture, and education. Let's get started with our first news. The European Commission has urged Hungary to provide immediate clarity following a bombshell report by the Washington Post, alleging that Budapest's top diplomat shared sensitive EU negotiation details with Russia. The report, published Saturday, claims Hungary's Foreign Minister Péter Szijjártó routinely called his Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov, during breaks in EU meetings. According to anonymous sources cited by the U.S., outlet Szijjártó delivered direct reports on what was discussed and outlined possible next steps, potentially compromising the bloc's unity on critical issues like Ukraine aid and energy sanctions. The allegations have ignited fury in Brussels, where trust in Hungary, long criticized for its pro-Moscow stance under Prime Minister Viktor Orbán, is already frayed. Commission spokesperson Eric Mamer stated Monday, "We expect full transparency from all member states. Any breach of confidentiality undermines our collective interests. The Commission has requested a formal explanation from Hungarian officials and has indicated it may initiate infringement proceedings if the matter is substantiated." Hungary swiftly denied the claims. Szijjártó dismissed the story as fake news on social media, insisting his communications with Lavrov were routine diplomacy and accusing Western media of Russophobia. Orbán's government, which has repeatedly vetoed or delayed EU sanctions against Russia, faces mounting isolation. Recent polls show eroding support amid economic woes tied to the Ukraine war. EU diplomats worry the leaks could embolden Moscow, especially as negotiations intensify on a $50 billion Ukraine aid package. Critics such as German MEP Reinhard Bütikofer called it treasonous and demanded an independent probe. As tensions simmer, the episode underscores deepening rifts within the 2-7 nation bloc, testing its cohesion 2 years into Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Air Canada Express Flight AC-8646, a Bombardier CRJ-900 operated by Jazz Aviation from Montreal to New York's LaGuardia Airport, collided with a Port Authority fire truck on runway 4 late Sunday night, the 22nd of March 2026, around 11:38 p.m., resulting in the deaths of the 2 pilots and injuries to dozens. The aircraft, carrying 72 passengers and 4 crew members, struck the Airport Rescue and Firefighting ARFF vehicle, which was responding to a United Airlines flight reporting an unusual smell, obliterating the cockpit and severing the forward galley. Passengers on the flight described a sudden hard braking followed by a deafening boom, with people thrown from seats and blood visible amid the wreckage. One survivor helped open an emergency exit, allowing passengers to slide down the wing to safety. Nearby, 23-year-old Leo Medina, aboard another plane just 100 meters away on the tarmac, watched in horror. It was like the plane got cut in half. His flight returned to the gate, stranding him for over 12 hours, sleeping on the floor amid jackets. The impact left the nose crumpled and elevated, with debris scattered. The plane was a total loss. Of 76 on board, 41 were hospitalized, 39 passengers, crew plus 2 firefighters with broken bones, 32 released, 9 still under care. Air traffic control audio captured urgent pleas. "Stop, stop, stop," seconds before collision. LaGuardia halted operations, causing mass cancellations. The National Transportation Safety Board and Canada's Transportation Safety Board are probing possible ATC miscommunication, vehicle placement, and aircraft speed, 81 to 91 knots at impact. Black boxes were recovered. Air Canada expressed condolences, supporting affected families. Mayor Zoran Mamdani praised first responders for saving lives in the tragic collision. Germany faces mounting pressure to reform its rape laws following a high-profile case where deepfake videos of a celebrity were distributed online, sparking nationwide outrage. Activists and lawmakers are urging the adoption of an only yes means yes, active consent model, aiming to modernize protections against sexual violence in the digital age. The controversy erupted last month when explicit deepfake pornography featuring actress Lena Meyer-Landrut surfaced on social media platforms. The fabricated videos, created using AI technology, amassed millions of views before removal. Meyer-Landrut, known for her Eurovision win, publicly condemned the abuse, stating, "This isn't just humiliation, it's a violation that technology has made easier than ever." The incident has ignited debates on whether current laws adequately address non-physical sexual assaults. Under Germany's existing criminal code, rape requires proof of violence, threat, or exploitation of vulnerability. Critics argue this excludes digital harms like deepfakes and revenge porn. "We need to recognize that consent must be explicit and enthusiastic," said feminist campaigner Clara Muller of the Number Aufschrei movement. "Silence or passivity shouldn't imply agreement. Proponents of the only yes means yes principle already. Law in Spain and Sweden insist it shifts the burden from victims to affirmatively demonstrate consent. A petition with over 200,000 signatures demands its inclusion in a broader legal update. Justice Minister Marco Buschmann acknowledged the gaps, announcing a government review panel next month. AI-driven abuse demands swift action, he said during a Bundestag session. Opponents, including some conservatives, worry the change could lead to overcriminalization. "We must balance victim protection with legal clarity," argued CDU lawmaker Hans Weber. The debate echoes global trends, with the EU pushing harmonized digital safety rules under the Digital Services Act. Women's rights groups hope Germany's reforms could set a precedent, protecting citizens from evolving online threats. Ousted Venezuelan leader Nicolás Maduro appeared in a New York federal court on the 26th of March, 2026, arguing that United States sanctions are blocking his defense by preventing payment of legal fees from Venezuelan government funds. His attorney, Barry Pollock, threatened to withdraw last month without a license from the United States Treasury, citing violations of Maduro's Sixth Amendment rights. Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, were captured in a United States military operation at their Caracas presidential compound on the 3rd of January 2026, codenamed Operation Absolute Resolve. The raid involved Delta Force, bombing infrastructure, and resulted in reports of at least 80 Venezuelan deaths, with Flores sustaining injuries like a possible rib fracture. They face charges of narco-terrorism, cocaine importation, conspiracy, and weapons possession, each carrying potential life sentences. Both pleaded not guilty during their January arraignment before Judge Alvin Hellerstein in Manhattan's Southern District. Maduro proclaimed, "I am not guilty. I am a decent man," while rejecting claims he led a drug cartel. The session centered on legal fees amid United States sanctions on Maduro, Flores, and Venezuela imposed under the Trump administration. Initial Treasury approval for payments was revoked hours later without explanation, leaving Pollock unpaid. Prosecutors opposed Venezuelan funding, insisting that Maduro pay independently, while lines formed early outside the courthouse due to limited seating. Defense seeks dismissal, arguing that sanctions denied due process and that complex drug charges were sidelined. Live coverage drew global attention, with supporters calling the capture regime change. President Donald Trump announced Friday that the United States will postpone planned military strikes on Iran's energy infrastructure by 10 days, pushing the deadline to April 6. The decision comes as Trump reiterated that ongoing peace negotiations with Tehran are progressing very well, signaling a potential de-escalation in escalating tensions. Speaking from the White House Rose Garden, Trump described the talks as the best they've ever been, crediting his direct involvement. "Iran knows we mean business, but they also know I'm the ultimate dealmaker," he said. "We're close to something big. No bombs needed if they play fair." The strikes, initially set for late March, targeted Iran's power grid in response to alleged Iranian support for proxy attacks on U.S. forces in the Middle East and disruptions to global oil supplies. The delay follows a week of intense diplomacy, including virtual meetings between U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff and Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. Sources close to the negotiations say discussions now center on Iran's nuclear program, ballistic missile development, and Houthi activities in the Red Sea. Trump hinted at massive incentives for Iran, potentially including sanctions relief, though details remain classified. Critics, including Democratic leaders, accused Trump of inconsistency. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer called it impulsive foreign policy, warning that delays could embolden adversaries. Meanwhile, Republican hawks like Sen. Lindsey Graham praised the move as strategic patience, urging Iran to seize the opportunity. Iran's state media dismissed the talks as propaganda, but analysts note Tehran's recent troop pullbacks from Yemen as a possible concession. Markets reacted positively, with oil prices dipping 2% on news of the postponement. As April 6 looms, the world watches whether Trump's gamble yields peace or prompts further brinkmanship. White House officials say updates will follow daily. That was the 7 Days Report Show. I'm your host, Vasilios Nikolaos Vitsiloyanis. Before signing off, I would like to thank you for listening to our news. Until next time, stay informed and be safe. Goodbye.